Hey everyone, Thought and Smash here, Resident Apex Predator. Since you guys didn't snitch on my last exploit video, I'm gonna show you how to handle your piece today. Remember, knowing how to use your weapon is the true mark of a true skilled player. I am so in trouble. Man, I freaking hate that guy. Anyways, today we're going to be going over all the different guns in Apex Legends, and I will have chapters that you can go ahead and click on down below, so you can go ahead and skip to shotguns, light guns, heavy guns, whatever you are looking for, you can just go ahead and skip and find those right away. I will be going over all of them in depth and giving you a lot of tips and tricks that you may not be aware of if you are an already current player that wants to get some more gun tips, or if you're ready for the Nintendo Switch version, I will go over everything so you guys will be fully set when the game launches. So let's do it. As always, we got to go ahead and recognize who commented first on my last video, and that was Aviator. That man was just squirrely enough to soar into first place. Okay, so the first class of weapons we're going to go over is actually going to be the shotguns. Now, the one important attachment you want to know is the shotgun bolt. This will affect how quickly these shotguns fire. You attach, you're good to go. Now, in terms of the first shotgun I'm going to go over, that's going to be the Mastiff. Okay, the first big thing to go over with the Mastiff shotgun is that it has crazy spread. You can tell from the reticle right there that it goes all over the place. This is an example. And with that example, you'll notice I only did 39 and 26 damage. You really don't do that much unless you aim down the sight. That's mainly what you want to do with this gun right here. Boom, 104 aiming down sight. That's how you want to use this gun. You can do up to 128 damage to the head if you hit him just right, with 104 as shown with the body. The leg is where you kind of get less damage, so I would once again avoid that. But up close or even medium range, aiming down sight, the shotgun's great. Now the EVA 8 is going to be basically a dumbed down version of the Mastiff. It isn't nearly as powerful as its counterpart, but it is way more consistent. For example, if I aim down sight, 63 damage. If I don't aim down sight, 63 damage. No matter what, you're going to be pretty consistent with this. The one upside is that if you just hold down the trigger, it actually fully auto fires like this. So it's a really good trick to know, but otherwise you're really going to want to stick with the Mastiff over this. Time to go over my favorite gun in the entirety of Apex Legends, and that's the Peacekeeper. This thing is insane. Okay, you can only find it in care package, so it is very hard to find, but my god, it just is so versatile. First off, you have a built-in choke. As you hold down the trigger, as you see, the reticle closes, which means it will fire all my shots into one blast. Boom, 110 damage. You don't have to do that. You can fire it with spread, but it's still 110 damage. That is absolutely amazing. The great part is, if you charge it up and you hit someone in the head, check this out, check this out. Oh my god, 143. This thing is just a beast. You do have to get some practice with getting good at aiming down the sight on it and letting that build up, but overall, it is a fantastic weapon and my favorite. All right, time to go ahead and go into our sniper rifles now. First one up is going to be the triple take, which is actually another one of my personal favorites, and it's really, really good for beginners. Now, just like that Peacekeeper we showed, it has a built-in choke. As you look down the reticle, it will aim and go ahead and put all 3 bullets into one shot, just like that. You don't have to do that. You can go ahead and just hit fire. Boom, it'll fire 3 different shots, but the farther away you are, you'll notice them spread out more. So that's something really good to know. Another great thing is this basically functions like a shotgun. You really can fire it up close and it fires 3 bullets just like a shotgun basically would. It's really useful up close, medium range, and it also has one of the quickest fire rates out of all the sniper rifles. It's still not speedy like an R99, but it works perfectly fine and way faster than the other options. Now, next up in the sniper category is going to be the Longbow. And the Longbow actually, when the game first came out, was my favorite sniper, but it does take a little bit of practice compared to the triple take, and it isn't nearly as good as it used to be, but it's still quite powerful. First thing you're going to want to know, this is not going to want to be used up close that often. You can still use it up close, but it's really meant for that medium engagement or far away. And if you are using it far away, there's something very important to know with snipers. Now, as you can see while I'm looking down the sight, this target is about 200 meters away. That means if I fire right point blank, I'm actually not going to hit it where I wanted to. It was a little bit too low. You actually want to line up that 2 on the reticle with the amount of meters away it is. Boom, you'll hit it right on target if you do that. You basically have to scale up the meters to that vertical line number to where you want it to hit. The other thing to note with it is, unlike the triple take, it doesn't have a very fast fire rate. Here's me firing it as fast as it can. As you can see, it basically, you can get a shot off every couple of seconds, nothing crazy. It does come with a skull piercer hop-up, which you can find, which will increase the headshot damage for this weapon. That is one of the special hop-ups designed for this gun. Now the Sentinel is one of the weirdest guns in the game. Basically, you can do up to about 140 damage if you hit him in the head. However, if you only hit them in the body, you're going to do 70 damage. And the fact that this thing has a really long reload time and time in between shots really makes it not very good. Basically, I'm reloading, you see the animation, takes forever, so you have to make sure you hit them in the head or you're really setting yourself up for failure. One really good thing about the sniper rifle, however, is that basically you can charge up the shot. Right here it says I need 2 cells required, and I will basically be able to amp up my shot and do around 170 damage. There is a workaround to this though. If you pop on this gold shield right here, boom, now I only need 1 cell to charge it. So if you have this sniper rifle and you like it, make sure to equip the gold armor. It'll help you a ton with doing more damage. So moving into the charge rifle, when you were playing against someone with this in earlier seasons, it was a nightmare. However, it has been nerfed twice since then. However, it's still probably one of the most user-friendly guns in the game and really great for new players. I do want to say, this is a sniper rifle in all purposes. You do not want to use this gun up close because the time in between shots is really bad. One of the best features about this gun is it does an insane amount of damage, and it also will slow your opponents as the beam is building up. As it is beginning to fire, it will actually slow the opponent as you're hitting them. The other great thing is, if you just notice, it has no bullet drop. It's the only weapon in the game that has 0 bullet drop. You can go ahead and sit right here and boom, it will hit right where I look at it. It's really user-friendly in that sense. I highly recommend it for new players. Okay, moving into the last sniper rifle on the list. This is the big boy. This is the Kraber. Now, if you hear this gun go off in your general area, hide. Do not poke out, do not try to pick away at the enemy, and this is the reason why. Look down the sights, 435 damage with a headshot. No matter what shield you're wearing, you are going down. This gun is absolutely a beast. Now, there is a large charge time in between shots. As you'll see, you have to bolt action it, very similar to the Sentinel. And I will say that it does take a little bit of practice to go ahead and hit targets from a distance, but when you do, it does so much damage. You only have limited ammo with it, but if you can find it in the care package, which is the only place to do so, go ahead and grab it because you don't want to be on the other end of this gun. Alright, so let's go ahead and move into the light machine gun category. And light machine guns can be very user-friendly for beginner players, as it gives you a lot of ammo to work with. If you grab those extended mags, it's very useful. Now, I do want to say that if you aren't the best at aiming, this gun is going to help you a ton in making sure that you get some bullets on your enemy. There's some stuff to know with Season 8 in regards to the bullet damage increasing from 18 to 19, the regular reload speed increased from 2.8 to 3.2, and the empty reload speed increased from 3.33 to 3.38, so there have been some changes. The Spitfire is pretty great for medium range, and it really just has a steady rate of fire that allows you to go ahead and just lay down massive amounts of bullets until you can go ahead and knock down all your enemies. It's not the most powerful gun in the game, but just because of how much ammo it has, it's just really useful, especially for beginner players who are still learning the aiming mechanics of Apex Legends. Now, we've got 2 light machine guns that use energy ammo, and the first one up is the L-Star. Now, if you're dropping in an area and there's another team with you, and this gun is on the ground, grab it, because it is an absolute nightmare in the beginning of the game when the other team doesn't have that great of gear yet. Now, if you aim down sight, you can go ahead and do quite a bit of damage, but instead of a normal magazine, it will just go ahead and just reheat, and then you will dump the sink and you can fire again. Now, if you look down sight, you can do a ton of damage, and it's pretty easy to control the recoil, although it will kick a little bit. If you don't look down sight, you're gonna notice that this basically will go all over the place. It's gonna go left, right, up, down. It's gonna go everywhere. Now, you can still control it a bit if you have the finger on it, but it is still kicking a little bit everywhere, but it's definitely usable. It's a good one, but as you move further into the final rings, it's not nearly as useful. The last light machine gun is an absolute nightmare to play against. It is the Devotion. Now, this gun used to be absolutely horrible to go against in the earlier seasons, and it's been nerfed, but this is easily still S tier. Now, it does 255 damage per second, which is just insane. The one downside is that unless you have a turbocharger, you're going to notice there's a windup. I'm going to start pulling the trigger now, and it will slowly build up to its maximum. It also kicks a little bit, but it's still pretty manageable. However, if you can go ahead and get one of these bad boys, the turbocharger, yeah, well, now you don't have to go ahead and worry about that startup time at all. It is just ready to start firing right away, and it is an absolute beast. Feel my wrath, practice target. 768 damage. Don't mess with the devotion. Okay, so we're gonna move into assault rifles now, and assault rifles are just crazy good. They're probably the most versatile weapons in the game and really good, and the most versatile of them all, in my opinion, is the G7 right here. Now, this thing has the highest damage headshot right now after the 30-30, and dude, it's just crazy good. You can hit people mid-range with this thing, you can hit them up close with this thing, you can have a pretty solid fire rate with it. It's a really good assault rifle. It uses light ammo. You can't go wrong with it. I recommend using a medium range, but if you're on a hot drop and you pick one up, you can use it close range. It's still pretty good in that situation. All right, now the 301 is a light counterpart like the G7 in the assault rifle class. However, the difference between it is that it is fully automatic and you can basically do a great deal of damage. This gun gets slept on way too much. I really love this gun, and it's great up close to about 20 yards. Now, if you're further than that, you're actually gonna wanna go ahead and put it on single, and that will help a lot more. Basically, you can just fire a single shot so you don't have to worry about the spray and recoil going everywhere. That's something really key to know about the 301. Great up close on full auto. Anything about actually this far, you're gonna wanna put on single. So just something to keep in mind. Now, first up in the heavy class for the assault rifles is the Flatline. Now, the Flatline is really cool. It's basically got an auto fire rate of 600 rounds per minute, which is really good. However, other guns become way more accurate because basically this thing doesn't have a lot of attachments. You really don't have that barrel stabilizer, which really helps a ton. It does make up for this in the fact that you can find an anvil receiver. It will increase the semi-auto damage, just like that 301 we showed you. You can go ahead and hit the D-pad, it will turn this into single fire, and you will do more damage in a semi-auto fire mode. Still very good. However, it's very good for beginners, or if you just drop. After that, you're gonna want to drop this thing. Okay, so as you can see here, we are going into the Hemlock, and I want to point out Hemlock is my favorite on the ground gun other than the Peacekeeper, because you can't find that on the ground. It's a care package item. But the reason I keep my Predator badge on it is because I love this gun and I'll try to rock it as often as I can. Now, the burst mode it comes with fires 3 bullets, which are incredibly powerful and do a ton of damage very quickly with almost no recoil. Look how much the gun kicks, almost none. However, what I absolutely love doing is putting this thing into single fire mode. You can fire this incredibly fast. What a lot of people don't know is I actually have a popsicle stick attached to my controller trigger, and like a paintball gun, I go and switch my fingers very quickly, and I fire this thing insanely fast, and it has almost no recoil on it. You can do so much with a little bit of practice there. This gun, so good, single fire, but if you're up close with enemies, use it in the burst mode. Now, the newest weapon in Apex Legends and also in the assault rifle class is the 30-30 rifle, and I absolutely love this. I've been using it a ton. It's great to pair up with an SMG, which we'll be going over in just a couple minutes. Now, the thing that makes this great is if you hit people, there's no recoil. Look at this. It's hardly moving, just like the Hemlock before it. It does have a little bit of time in between shots, but that's because it's lever action. The great thing that really makes this thing killer is if you aim down sight, the reticle will charge up, hit him in the head, 100 damage. It's just really versatile, and it's basically like a heavy version of the scout rifle. The last one we have up for the assault rifle class is the energy weapon, the Havoc. Now, the Havoc used to be insanely good in earlier seasons, but it's really fallen from grace. I don't like this gun really at all. It used to have a select fire, which allowed for sniper kind of shots. You can no longer do that. And compared to the Volt SMG and the Devotion LMG, which are both energy weapons, this gun is just worse in almost every category from those two. There's no reason to pick this over those. As you can see, you have the wind up fire just like the Devotion before it begins pluckering in, and the turbocharger will get rid of that, but why not just use that on the Devotion if you can find it? The recoil pattern can also be all over the place, as you can see, just like that L-Star. It's just, I don't know. Compared to every other assault rifle, this is the one you kind of want to stay away from. This is like a last ditch. If you land and you have no weapons, then you pick it up. Or if you somehow are a Havoc god, then go for it, but I'm not, and most people I don't think are. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the SMGs. And now the SMGs in this game are incredibly great up close. They're great to pair with a sniper rifle or assault rifle, and you can't go wrong. You will go through clips very quick with them, so unless you spray and pray, you should be fine. Basically, hit your target and you'll do just fine. The first one up is the R99. Now, in November, they did do a patch where they brought it down from 12 damage per shot to 11, but it's still really good. Great. It's got the most deadliest damage per minute in the entire game. As you can see right here, if you hit It is absolutely a laser of 209 in about 3 seconds flat. While you are aiming down sights from far away, it will kick up like that. So to control it, you are going to want to push down the thumbstick just a little bit like that, and it will pretty much hold still. It does have 20 bullets in the clip regularly, but if you get that extended purple mag, oh my god, you've got 27 bullets, and you will absolutely shred through people. Now, the Alternator is basically a dumbed-down version of the R99 in the SMG category. It doesn't do as much damage. It has had a buff for Season 8, bringing it from basically 15 to 16 per shot. However, it's just nowhere near as good as the R99 in any capacity. However, if you fight it early game, it's pretty good. Its recoil is actually a lot easier to handle than the R99, which is the one advantage. However, everything else is weaker. Less damage per second, less fire rate per second. It's great early game, but swap it out as soon as you can. Next up is going to be the energy weapon, the Volt. Now, the Volt is a great SMG. This thing is very similar to the R99 in almost every category. I will say that the bullet damage has been decreased from 16 to 15, but my god, does this thing fire fast, and it hits hard. Dumping the clip in just about at the same rate as the R99, just a little bit slower. The recoil is a lot easier to control. It does kick up just like the R99, so you are going to want to keep the thumbstick kind of even just like that so you can hit most of your targets. If you hip fire, you will notice it goes up, but then stays pretty consistent right above the target. You can pull back down quite easily, making it very good and beginner friendly, as you can control the recoil even if you slip up at first. And the last of the SMGs, and arguably the most powerful, is the Prowler. Now, this thing has been a care package weapon for the last couple of seasons, and there's a good reason behind it. This thing is the destroyer of souls. Now, the first great function of it is that it does have a burst mode, just like the Hemlock, which does insane damage. Like, boom, 3 shots and a guy with purple is out. Now, if you go ahead and set it to the full auto because you just feel like absolutely ruining someone's day, almost no recoil on this thing. I'm pushing down very slightly. If I don't do anything, it will kick up slightly, but really not that much. And if you do actually control your recoil, oh my god, this thing is absolutely amazing. It's the best SMG in the gun, and it's in the care package for a reason. If you find it, get it, you'll probably win the game. Now, the last category to go over is the pistol category. And the first one up I want to go is with the P2020. I do want to say, with the exception of the Wingman, most pistols aren't overly useful in the game, and you will drop them for better weapons. But as you drop into the game, it's always good to grab one. The P2020 is actually a pretty weak one, but it does have some slight advantages. As you notice here, you're only going to do about 15 per shot on this. From far away, no recoil, but it's a pistol. That's kind of to be expected. Now, if you get these hammer point pop-ups, you can go ahead and increase unshielded damage, which means if the opponent doesn't have a shield, you will do more damage with them. However, at base, you're still doing 15. The cool thing is, remember that popsicle stick trick I taught you with the Hemlock? Well, same thing applies to the P2020. It's got an insane fire rate if you can get it up. Basically, fire as fast as you can, boom, you're good to go. Use the popsicle stick, my friend. Now, the RE45 is in a very weird place. It sits somewhere between the Alternator and the P2020. It does have an increased bullet damage that they've done from 11 to 12, and they fixed an issue with the reload speed, bringing it down to 1.5 seconds, which is pretty great. It is fully automatic, unlike the P2020. You just hold down the trigger, and it goes through. There's almost no recoil on it either, which is very helpful. It does pull up and to the right a little bit, so do be aware of that. If you do find this attachment, you can go ahead and put that on, which allows for faster weapon switching, aiming down sight time, and reduced hip fire spread. If you put that on, you will have less spread while hip firing, you can aim down the sight almost instantaneous, and you can switch in between weapons. It's very good if you can find the hop up, but once again, you're going to switch it out for something better later on. Okay, so the only pistol in the game that you can probably actually carry to endgame if you get the skill up for it is the Wingman. This thing is just versatile in so many different ways. It does have time in between shots because it's basically a Desert Eagle, but almost no recoil. You're hitting every shot there. It's pretty insane. You also get the option of putting on that quick draw holster, which we just went over for the RE45, to go ahead and aim down sights quicker. But if you want to go ahead and actually add more headshot damage, you can put on the skull piercer. So it has 2 different attachments you can put on it, and if you hit people in the head with this thing, that's 101 damage. You can absolutely destroy teams if you can hit your headshots. This is the only pistol, like I said, that I really recommend carrying to endgame if you can practice with it and get good. And the last weapon to go over in Apex Legends, and the reason I put it last, is I saved the best for last. This gun is amazing. This is the Mozambique to clap all dumb cheeks. This thing is a beast. I am kidding. Do not use this if you can prevent it. I almost at times would rather melee. It is a shotgun pistol with 4 bullets. Boom, boom, boom. 45 damage isn't bad. The reload speed, however, is absolutely horrendous. If you run into someone with an R99, you are dead. If you run into someone who can punch you in the face and move around, you're likely dead. The one redeeming quality, other than the fact that it does come up with that hammer point round, which does hurt people if they don't have a shield, which is once again very situational, is that you can actually once again hold down the right trigger and it will auto fire. But that's the only thing. Otherwise, don't pick this thing up. Otherwise, you will die. Also, you may actually see a cool variant of this on April Fool's Day. The devs last year basically made it a super overpowered mess. They are known to do stuff like that. So that might be something fun you will see in the future. But otherwise, don't touch it. Please, please, please don't. If you do use the Mozambique, don't say you got it from this guide, please. That's going to be my video today, guys, and I hope you found it informative and it really helped you figure out the weapons that you want to use in the game. In the top corner, you will go ahead and see something that helps you figure out what are the best legends to unlock first and some information on that. I do have a couple more guide videos, so just check in that playlist if you need any more information. However, if you want a full rundown on all the Apex legends, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to do a video on that. Until next time, legends, keep slaying in the Outlands, and I'll see you out there.